So, magandang araw para sa ating lahat. It is now an honor to share our collective advocacy for family-centered psychological preparedness amid the growing threats of natural disasters. So, as mental health professionals, our duty doesn't end in crisis response. It begins with psychological readiness at the family level. When we speak of psychological preparedness, we must recognize that the Filipino family is constantly in the eye of the storm. From the 2025 Cebu earthquake to the Davao Oriental twin shocks, families face sudden displacements. 8.9 thousand people evacuated overnight, and many without psychological support systems. Each year, thousands of Filipinos lose homes, loved ones, or stability because we lived on the Pacific Ring of Fire and under the path of an average of 20 typhoons annually. So imagine the emotional toll, the anxiety, trauma, financial stress, especially among parents and the children. When we talk about disaster preparedness, they usually think of go bags, canned goods, and evacuation plans. Handa tayo sa gamit pero hindi sa emosyon. Psychological preparedness is about how we deal with fear, stay calm under pressure, and find meaning after the chaos. Because when a disaster hits, it's not just about what you packed, it is about knowing what to do, feeling ready, and supporting each other. Try asking yourself, if an earthquake happened right now, would I freeze, panic, or remember what to do? So this is the part of mental rehearsal, training your mind to stay grounded when things get shaky. Psychological preparedness includes number one, awareness of risks and warning signs. Number two, managing fear and anxiety before and after disasters. Number three, maintaining communication even under distress. And number four, post-disaster emotional support and meaning making. So try to remember the Davao double earthquake. Parents become emotional anchors by praying and storytelling. So these small acts like those made a huge difference and help everyone feel safer, even when the ground was still moving. So now, let's now focus on the key protective factors that have emerged from post-disaster studies in the Philippines. So these factors help explain why some families are able to recover and even grow stronger after calamities, while others struggle with prolonged distress. Number one, faith and spirituality. Isa sa mga pinakamatatag na sandigan ng pamilyang Pilipino ay ang pananampalataya. After a disaster, many families turn to prayer, church activities, and spiritual rituals to find meaning and hope. Research by Carandang 1996 and Ladriga Ignacio 2011 shows that strong religiosity helps families make sense of suffering and loss, providing a sense of purpose and resilience. So, halimbawa dito, after the Typhoon Yolanda, many survivors reported that their faith gave them the strength to rebuild their lives, even when material resources were scarce. And this is also reflected in the Filipino mindset of the bahala na. So which, while sometimes seen as fatalistic, it can also be a form of optimistic surrender and trust in a higher power. Number two is family cohesion and collectivism. So Filipino families are known for their strong sense of togetherness. Studies by Adviento and De Guzman 2010 and Versosa 2011 highlights that emotional solidarity, yung sama-samang sa pagharap ng problema, it reduces trauma and speeds up recovery. So in fact, research shows that higher family cohesion is linked to lower rates of depression and suicidal ideation among Filipinos, both in the Philippines and abroad. During the 2025 Cebu earthquake, for example, families who stayed together in the evacuation center, they reported feeling safer and more hopeful than those who were separated. Number three, sense of humor, optimism, and adaptability. So, natural sa mga Pilipino ang maghanap ng katatawanan kahit sa gitna ng trahedya. Karandang, 1996, observed that humor, optimism, and adaptability are deeply embedded in the Filipino culture. And these traits help families cope with uncertainty and loss. So, for instance, after a typhoon, you might hear jokes about the situation or see people making light of their hardships. And tandaan, this is not denial. It is a way to manage stress and maintain hope. Number four, parenthood as protections. So finally, parenthood itself acts as a protective factor. So research studies on the socio-ecological determinants of distress 2021, they found that the Filipino parents often derive meaning and motivation from their children, which helps reduce their own distress. And the responsibility to care for children pushes parents to be strong, resourceful, and hopeful. So, even in the face of adversity. And this is supported by the findings that active parental involvement and alignment in values between parents and children serves as a buffer against depression and anxiety. So, in summary, faith, family cohesion, humor, and parenthood are not just cultural traits. They are scientifically supported protective factors that help Filipino families survive and thrive after disasters. As mental health professionals, it is crucial that we recognize and build on these strengths in our interventions. Using Walsh Family Resilience Framework, we can understand how families make sense of, organize, and work together through crisis. The Filipino families often show remarkable strength in their belief system, drawing deeply from faith, hope, and shared values. But sometimes, they face challenges when it comes to structured communication or emotional openness. So, in some workshops, they help family members practice expressing fears out loud, assigning clear rules for crisis situations, and developing family emergency action plans that include regular mental health check ins. And its core, resilience grows from faith, flexibility, and open communication. One great example comes from the aftermath of the Typhoon Yolanda. Kasi many families there rebuilt their homes side by side, prayed together every night, and they divided responsibilities. Small act but powerful. And this strengthened both their recovery and connection as a family. The RFFP program believes that the family is more than just a system. It is a healing system. So in times of crisis, families have the power to help each other and recover emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Well, the goal of this program is to strengthen those natural bonds and help families respond to disasters with awareness, compassion, and teamwork. The modules walk participants through a journey of healing and resilience. 1. Understanding disaster stress. So this module helps family recognize the physical and emotional effects of a disaster. It builds awareness of how stress shows up, from sleepless nights to emotional numbness, and it opens the door to healthy coping. 2. Family coping mechanisms. Here, We explore how families naturally adapt and support each other during tough times. The module encourages identifying existing strengths as well as developing new ways to face challenges together. 3. Emotional processing and rituals of recovery. So, healing takes time. And this module focuses on expressing emotions, sharing stories, and creating family rituals that bring comfort and meaning, whether through prayer, shared meals, or reflection. 4. Collective goal setting. So finally, this module helps families look ahead. Members work together to set clear, shared goals for rebuilding and growth, focusing on both practical recovery and emotional well-being. So by the end of the RFFP journey, families do not just recover, they transform. They learn to communicate better, care deeper, and face a future crisis with strength rooted in connection. Our initiative focuses on strengthening community resilience through integrated mental health and preparedness efforts. We begin by training the barangay leaders in psychological first aid and family narrative reconstruction, empowering them to provide immediate emotional support and help families rebuild meaningful stories after a crisis. Next, we integrate disaster readiness modules in schools, ensuring that preparedness and emotional resilience start early among children and the educators. We will also partner with faith-based organizations to provide pre-disaster counseling and community-driven support, recognizing the vital role of faith in Filipino resilience. Finally, we conduct rapid psychosocial assessments or RPAs after each crisis to quickly identify the needs, guide interventions, and promote long-term recovery. So, if we'll do it together, these efforts aim to create communities that are not only disaster ready, but also emotionally and spiritually stronger. A psychologically prepared Filipino family regularly holds meetings to identify safe spaces in the home and check in on its members' emotional state, establishes simple code words for emergencies, assign clear roles such as leader, comforter, and a contact person to ensure everyone knows their responsibility, and practices family rituals like debriefing, prayer, or storytelling after drills or disasters to process emotions and strengthen unity. So, practical steps that foster resilience and readiness in the face of the adversity. So, as supported by local disaster preparedness guides and psychoeducation research in the Philippines. In the Philippines, family preparedness is action is best illustrated by real cases. So after the Bohol 2013 earthquake, families who engage in shared prayer and communal activities experience lower PTSD scores, showing the power of collective coping and faith. During the Typhoon Haiyan in 2013, families who relocated together to temporary shelters adapted faster emotionally, as their unity and mutual support helped them navigate the challenges of displacement and recovery. And in the recent Cebu 2025 earthquake, rapid family reunification not only reduced distress but also made coordination with local government responders more efficient, highlighting how strong family bonds and organized action can foster resilience and psychological well-being in times of disasters. Empirical and anecdotal findings align. The family that plans and heals together recovers stronger. So every household should have not just an evacuation checklist, but an emotional action plan. Who calms the children? Who manages misinformation? And who contacts the extended relative? So families move collectively through trauma and meaning making. So many Filipino survivors describe their recovery not as an individual journey, but as a familia saga. So in psychosocial debriefings, we can strengthen this narrative identity, helping families see themselves as heroes of their own recovery. To conclude, our project para sa pamilya is not only about intervention. It is about cultural transformation. Preparedness begins with small rituals of readiness, open dialogue, empathy, and emotional regulation among family members. And my challenge to you, my colleagues, how can your practice today plant seeds of psychological readiness for tomorrow's storm?